filmmaker, film historian, and writer from Assam. He has authored several scholarly books on cinema, including the highly regarded Face to Face, the cinema of Alur Gopal Krishnan, Thousand of Fame. Beyond his writing, his research extends to significant projects on Assamese cinema undertaken at the National Film Archive of India, where he has contributed immensely to preserving and documenting the region's cinematic heritage. With that, I now hand over the program to our chairperson, Dr. Azuman Ara ma'am, to lead the keynote address, ma'am. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Shillong, for this announcement and all. The English and Foreign Languages University is known for its contribution to the study of literature, particularly English literature. And this is an immense pleasure to have a speaker who is going to speak on cinema related to Zubeen Garg, but he is a person who has done his master's in English. And his MPhil is on Shakespeare, and his PhD was on film and literature related to Shakespeare's renditions in Indian cinema. So I feel that it is a kind of Englishness affiliation. So Parthajit Baruah, he is already a part of EFLU, being graduate of English studies. It was a pleasure for me to know him through a common friend, Dr. Dijan Sharma, and I was quite impressed to see his nature of work. Whatever he is doing, he has a social message. And after Zubeen Garg's, we call it disappearance. We don't want to call it death or non-existence, we call it disappearance, both of us. So we had a long talk, and then he told me that he had a t-shirt with Zubeen Garg's dialogue. Mor kono jati nai, mor kono dharma nai, mor kono bhagavan nai, moi mukta. And you're supposed to give me one, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so he has one for me too. So we connected over a lot of commonalities, a lot of common interests, and I'm interested to find out that he has written a number of books, and we people in the university appreciate these things a lot. The first book is on Jyoti Prasad, Jaimoti, Indramalati and Beyond, History of Assamese Cinema. There is a book on Assamese cinema starting from Jyoti Prasad Agarwala. He has a famous documentary on the Majid tragedy that is about Nelly.
Yeah.
People hardly dare to speak about Nelly, but he has shown extraordinary courage in bringing out the issues related to Nelly. And he has one feature film called Nelly's Kotha, or the Nelly story. So whatever he is doing, he is trying to give a social message, and no doubt because of this he had connected deeply with Zubeen Garg. And it is my pleasure and privilege to be chairing this session as he is our keynote speaker today. So may I have the honor to welcome him at EFLU University and also to deliver the keynote speech. Parthajit sir, Parthajit Baruah, Parthoda, whatever you call him, thanks for being here. So I welcome you on behalf of the audience and our university. Thank you.
Thank you.
You may take over.
Okay. Dr. Arjuman Ara for chairing this session. My brother Dr. Alankar Kaushik, convener, and all my friends and dignitaries who are sitting in front of me. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to be a part of this seminar on Zubeen Garg. Personally, I feel very happy in that sense because this seminar is completely dedicated to the singular legacy of Zubeen Garg, because he is not just an artist, but for me, he was a volcanic force that connects people irrespective of caste, creed and faith. Let me begin with my very small observation regarding his fashion or style. He used to wear two different colored shoes and specs without glass. You know, for me, Zubeen has made fashion a bold statement of rebellion and self-expression. Sometimes I wonder, so being honest and not trying to hide yourself who you are can disrupt the conventional norms. And he, through that, inspired us to embrace the all spectrum of our individuality. Now the question is, are we following him the way he is inspiring us? For me, as our chief guest has already mentioned many things, and some other panelists is going to talk on Zubeen Garg, but for me he is a rebel, restless and quite unpredictable and impossible to confine within conventional takes. He defies the expectation. I can tell you the beautiful story when I talk about he defies expectation, but as I have been given very limited time, I keep it some other seminar.
No, you can speak.
No, that's because it will take time. He, as you know that he was the lover of nature and animal. So the chief guest has already mentioned that in an era, when I was talking about in an era in late 1990s or 20s, the first decade of 21st century, when insurgency banned Hindi song to perform, Zubeen performed Hindi song. It showed the power of artistic freedom. He that way encouraged us. It will be surprised to know, because I have already written 7 scholarly books on cinema, so I have thoroughly studied not only the history of Assamese cinema, but throughout the 8 northeastern states. So when the commercial cinema in Assam was at a very bad phase, the second decade of 21st century, it was Zubeen Garg. I was talking about the artistic merit film like Village Rock, what Rima was doing, or Pradeep Kurba was doing, or Dominic was doing, or Pavan from Manipur was doing. I was not talking about the artistic merit film. I was talking about the commercial visibility. When Assamese cinema was commercially very down, because a film industry can survive only through the commercial film, not through the artistic films. Like independent filmmakers like me, I cannot make these things. So when Assamese cinema was in a very bad phase, it was Zubeen who decided to make film commercially successful. He made a film called Mission Saina. He invested money, crores of rupees. That is completely impossible for a filmmaker or for a film producer of Assam to invest that money. And there was a tag, particular Assamese tag used for that. Dori Dori Zam, Mission Saina Sam. Let's go running and watch film Mission Saina. This kind of tag he coined. Later on, some other filmmakers use that kind of films. And so personally, I feel that Zubeen, unlike other artists, he did not believe that music can change society. He just did not believe that music can change society. And that's the reason why he took to the street, hold hands with the people in protest, and raised voice against the system. He was not singing within the confined essay room. He came to the street. That is what we call the shift from a singer or artist to a street protest or social activist that we can say. So today I wish to engage with Zubeen Garg as a cinematic text. As our chief guest has already said, that he has a versatile aspects, like he's a music composer, singer, social activist, multiple. But as the time is very limited, as my area of interest in film studies, I'll narrow down my talk into his cinematic space, more specifically his acting and his films as a filmmaker. So he has mentioned about in 2000, for the first time, Zubeen Garg debuted both as an actor and as a director. But that film, both as an actor and director, it was a kind of very simple, lyrical film. I'm now going to focus on Zubeen Garg as an actor, and that as an actor and as a filmmaker we hardly give importance, because we more focus on as Zubeen Garg, music composer or vocalist, social activist who come to the street to raise protest. I'll focus on that, but let me begin with a personal share before talking on Zubeen Garg. Zubeen Garg as an actor. So in September, I was in Canada, Alberta. So I was invited to moderate a session in a film festival called India Film Festival of Alberta. There on 28, I moderated a session with the legendary Indian actor, director called Kamal Haasan. When I was doing research, because to moderate Kamal Haasan I need 1 month research or background preparation. So when I was preparing, I found one video clip, an interview, small interview of Kamal Haasan, that where Kamal Haasan was talking about his favorite actor Marlon Brando in Godfather, and Kamal Haasan was describing how Marlon Brando talks and delivers, throws the dialogue with pause, because his jaws, you saw the film, watch the film, the Marlon Brando with a normal jaw, he used some cotton there and looked like that. And Kamal Haasan was showing how Marlon Brando in that film, The Godfather, used some cotton there and how he delivered that talks. He changes his voice. That is what happened. Then, after the untimely demise of Zubeen Garg, at the time I was 19th September, I was in Alberta. Then I was searching the Instagram. Then suddenly I got a video clip. I was surprised, genuinely I was surprised in that sense, because Zubeen Garg was talking exactly like Kamal Haasan. Zubeen Garg was sharing his viewpoint. He says that his favorite actor was Marlon Brando, and he says that Marlon Brando, that was factually wrong what Zubeen Garg says. Zubeen Garg says that Marlon Brando used 3 marble there, here and here, 6 marble total to make this look floppy like that. That is factually incorrect. But he says that the deliver, the pause, he was so minutely, Zubeen Garg was minutely observing Marlon Brando. Once it is done, then he goes to Charlie Chaplin. For Zubeen Garg, in the interview, Zubeen Garg says Charlie Chaplin is like his father or God, his favorite. And he mentioned about The Kid. You know, what's the film The Kid by Charlie Chaplin? He says that when you watch the film Kid, you have to smile, at the same time you have to cry. He talks about the modern times. He talks about the circus. So when I was just observing and listening and watching that particular video clip, I was genuinely surprised that he had the world exposure to world cinema. But we here in Assam, we hardly pay attention Zubeen Garg as an actor or as a director. That is the biggest problem I have. So those who want to do PhD, so you can focus on these areas, narrow down, and these areas go on as an actor and as a director. As an actor, when I talk about, he has, as I have told, that he has started with Tumi Moor Mathumur. That was You Are Mine Only. If I roughly translate the film, Tumi Moor Mathumur, that was the first film as an actor. 3 films I'd like to mention about, which Zubeen as an actor has seriously evolved from Tumi Moor Mathumur. Tumi Moor Mathumur, many of may like, but personally I don't like the film because his acting was not that the way I was expecting. But that film is important because in 2000, very few Assamese films are as important as this one, because people have almost stopped going to watch film in theaters. Different part to understand the whole dynamics of theater cultures. But the film that Zubeen as an actor can be discussed, reread, reanalyzed, and that is called Dino Bandhu. The film was made in 2004. In Dino Bandhu, he played the role of called Bipul. Bipul was a music teacher. He was a music teacher. His acting was very raw, very genuine. He knew where to pause. He looks very natural with his costumes. There was no any exaggeration in throwing his dialogue. So that was the first film. Every film scholars or those who are following film do practice as a filmmaker, they will understand that this was the starting point. Zubeen as an actor, we can start with. Then secondly, we can say his film is called Monzai. Monzai. If we can fly or something like that. Monzai is the first film that Zubeen Garg as an actor has completely evolved, because it has many space than Dinabandhu, because in Dinabandhu he was a supporting actor, so he did not get much space and scope to evolve as an actor. But in later film like in Monzai, he evolved as an actor. And more recently, the third film which I like to talk about, the more recent film is Roy Binale, that was released in 2026. That film is important. It is because, number one, I like for a limited reason, and secondly, Dinabandhu, and third one is Monzai. There's a evolve, that he was evolving and he was growing as an actor. In Roro Binale, that was the ultimate. Why I say ultimate? He played the role of a blind singer. Normally in contemporary, if you look at the contemporary Indian cinema or world cinema, when a director assumes the character of a blind man, normally a blind person is given the black glass to assume that he is blind. But in that particular film, Zubeen himself said, Roro Binale, for the role of a blind singer, he used lens. When he used lenses to look more blind and authentic, he could not see. Just 5% or 6% he could see only. That shows clearly his commitment and dedication for the role. But we always know him as a music composer and a singer, some other aspects where he raised his voice. But here he was diverting his point. That's the reason I was mentioning about Marlon Brando, Kamal Hassan, and Charlie Chaplin. Now I need to clarify the point. When I mentioned the name of three great actors, I do not put Zubeen Garg to the same tag, to the same level, to the same league. What I want to mean that they are the greatest of the great actors. I like Kamal Hassan in that sense because he is for me, he is above Amitabh Bachchan, because throughout his film he has acted more than 250 films. From his first film in 1958 or 1960, he made his first film as a young boy, Kala Thoka Namma. That was the first film he made. Then the recent film is Thug Life. So throughout his film, he acted in 250 films, and every single film he was completely different, and he experimented acting. So for me, Zubeen, though I did not like Sikar or some other films, Rajniti or whatever films he has done, but I don't like some other films. Those are average. But I say that when I compare Zubeen with other actors, I want to mean that he has that spirit to experiment with his acting. If Bhagwan jodi rakha hoten, if he was alive, I was sure that he would have changed the very grammar of acting. Because if you look at his acting, he relies more on natural acting. This was the acting part. Now I just like to come to the point called as a director. I think you have watched some of his film that he has directed. So far, he directed 3 feature film. One, Tumimur Mathumur. Number 2, Mission China. And the last one is Kanchenjunga. So when I talk about, I just leave out the first film. Mission China is important because that was the first film that he dared to invest thousands of crores of rupees, and he brought back. He changed the whole pictures. He changed the whole picture of commercial space in Assam. That was the important point. In Kanchenjunga, Zubeen's inner self of Zubeen reflected through Kanchenjunga. Tumimur Mathupur, it was not reflected his philosophy. A portion of his philosophy and ideology is reflected in in Mission China. But his true philosophy, if you want to really analyze his philosophy, this film is perfect, because in one of the scenes in the film Kanchenjunga, you'll see that when his hair is completely shaved, he stays on the bank of Brahmaputra, and as he belongs to Brahmin, he tears his thread, the sacred thread, and he shouts, "I have no caste, I have no dharma, I have no religion, I am free, I am Kanchenjunga." That shows his philosophy. এইখিনিতে মই এটা লাইন খালি ক'ব বিচাৰিছোঁ। এই লাইনটো মই কৈছিলোঁ, just I like to put one line here only which I used for Kamal Hassan. I said that Kamal Hassan is, because his Hey Ram, you watch the film Hey Ram, I said that Kamal Hassan is not an actor and filmmaker, he was a thinker. He was a thinker. So for me, after watching, which we normally just ignore, normally ignore. So Zubeen Garg was a thinker. Now I'll have to end within a few minutes. So what I have observed, which is very important for me, after 19th September, I personally was observing the whole space. There was a profound shift. The shift from collective ignorance, from collective ignorance to a new way of looking at Zubeen Garg after his demise. But now the time has come. We need the intellectual introspection to understand Zubeen Garg. To understand Zubeen Garg as a cinematic text is not simply an act of admiration. It is an act of intellectual correction. We did not focus Zubeen on his intellectual areas. It is about rewriting our frameworks so that Northeast Indian cinema is not treated as marginal but as a site of theory, performance and aesthetic innovation. If cinema, as we often say, is a text, that Zubeen Garg is the one that we have only just begun to read, and perhaps now it is time we should reread, re-evaluate carefully, critically, with the intellectual seriousness. Last line. As I look at Zubeen's philosophy, one that dare to break social norms, we must ask ourselves, should we follow Zubeen's example and question the boundaries imposed upon us? Or should we remain silent, happy to watch as passive spectator? The answer perhaps will shape not only the future of our cinema, but the future of our society. Thank you so much. Concise, precise, please have it.
সময়ক মই বৰ ভয় খাওঁ. It was the word of Julinda, so I cannot help it. But we do have a bit of interaction if anybody from the audience has any question. Yosha, could you help with the mic? Vaishali? So it is like what Tagore says, here Shoya, now we go Shesh. So trolls and trains are there. So if the audience has any question or query to Panchola.
I'm here to be a part of this scholarly gathering. I have learned a lot, emotionally, psychologically, intellectually. It is an intellectual discourse, and this is for the first time that a national seminar on Zubeen Garg has been organized out of Assam. As a whole, this is the second seminar, because the first one was in Mayong Ansoli College, that was in Morigaon. So this is the second one, but out of Assam, this is the first one. So slowly and gradually, I believe in intellectual space and academic space or cinematic space, Zubeen will be Zubeen. And I'd like to end, when I just talk with my friends in Kolkata, then they always say that Satyajit Ray is in the DNA of the Bengali. And slowly and gradually, Zubeen will be the DNA in each and every people of Assam. He is, yeah. Thank you.
I saw Julinda in Goa University, and in one of his programs, actually I was wearing a Lakmanda, the Garo dress, and I had to leave because we had hostel timings. And he was watching with a very curious kind of eye. At that time I didn't know that he was born in Tura, and I was also born in Garo Hills. So sometimes we feel like remembering those things to see how we connect. This session, this seminar itself is supposed to be a brainstorming, because we have lots to explore regarding Zubeen Garg, the human being and